Welcome to Inmyexperience. Today we are here talking about life once again. It's been a doozy this week. How y'all doing?
Oh man, I tell you what.
I'm Sonya Lee.
And I'm Piperlyne, and our pre-show, shall we call it?
Our pre-shit show.
Once again, all over the place. Maybe not all over the place, but very intense. Lots of feelings, lots of thoughts, lots of words shared.
Yes. So spring is in the air. And Aries energy is running amok.
You know, whenever I hear that, I always think of that show. Remember with Sarah Jessica Parker and the two other, they were the witches?
Oh, yeah.
Where Amuck, anyway, Sarah Jessica Parker walks onto the not tiled asphalt, tar road. And she's like, Amuck, Amuck, Amuck. And I don't know why, but every time someone says the word Amuck, Sarah Jessica Parker dancing around saying Amuck, Amuck, Amuck comes to my mind. So anyway, thank you for letting me share. Please continue.
So for some reason, I cannot think of the name of that movie, but I see it very clear. Kathy Najimy and
Yeah.
It wasn't a cult classic when it first came out. My kids enjoyed it, but it has since
It
become.
is a cult classic now. Yes.
So anyhow, you know us, we like to kind of jump around everywhere, but isn't that kind of like how it is in your life sometimes? Do you ever find your thoughts, since we're talking about Aries? Aries is a fire sign. It's a sign of action. It can be very mental. I say that in the most kind way possible. It's like, we're raring to go, but yet it can be sort of impulsive or impetuous or reckless energy too, right? If you just kind of go running out the door
and maybe a tad selfish.
Well, self-centered anyway.
Yes, and that's not necessarily
not that one of those
thing.
is a bad thing.
Right.
It's just they're more just thinking about themselves. Right? What am I doing? Where am I going?
Mm-hmm.
How am I feeling? And it can be, well, it does what it's supposed to do. Like, let's look at this just from like an farmer's almanac kind of thing, right? Spring equinox. This is the time of the year where we're going to be preparing and planting for what we're going to grow through the summer and harvest in the fall so we can store it for the winter, right? Like, if we just look at that from that cyclic of, life standpoint, we don't necessarily do that anymore. Our lives have changed a lot. They're busy in different ways. We have different sort of seasons, if we will. Some of them still are fairly similar. January, we want to start new things. December, we want to take off for the last 2 weeks of the year, right? So, there's some of those things. But I always feel like this time of the year, which is supposed to be like the best time of the year, right? Because it's our birthdays, and it's our solar return, and it can be, but this year, and maybe it's just because, the world is different now.
Right.
It just feels this restlessness in all of us, and it's causing a lot of stinking thinking, at least for me.
Yeah.
And for what I see around, right? And we're seeing this play out, right? Miami, spring break, not to get into things, but it's part of it. There's been a lot of shootings lately,
right?
Especially in families. People stuck together, just can't take it anymore. People wanting to, break free. I was online looking at RVs, and, almost every site that I was on was saying, due to the co-vibe, there's, we have limited inventory because everybody's like, they want to get out. They want to do something, and I'm driving up and down the streets and I'm seeing pallets of stuff and dumpsters in front of people's houses. They're remodeling. Everybody's feeling this need to do something, but we don't have a field to plow and seeds to sow, and so being bodies in motion at this particular time, I feel like is a bit challenging, maybe.
I think I think some people are feeling that. Yeah.
And then for the others, that aren't feeling quite so antsy, that it's the opposite of it, right? It's that inertia, it's that indecision, it's that confusion and insecurity.
Well, and I think we're playing. I mean, this just like we saw COVID play out on the world's screen. We're still seeing things play out on the world screen this year too that are affecting us intensely. So they're different, right? We it's all been basically a year, at least for us in the U.S., since the lockdown started. Right, and many of us are seeing lifting and changing of that. But even with that changes occurring, there's still a lot of the same old shit going on, and
restrictive.
Right, and you can see it out in the world just as much as you can see it in your personal life.
Absolutely.
And so this sense and this need and this desire, I mean, I know I'm feeling it, this sense and this need and this desire to break free or let go or move on or start something new is being met day by day with the same old
like
shit.
Two rams butting heads on the side of a mountain.
And whatever the same old shit is for you, right? Because we're all having our own personal experience along with the collective. So what is the same old shit with me may be very different than what it is with you, but it's still an overarching theme. This desire to do something different, be something different, live something different, whatever verb you want to put before something different.
Yes.
And we're still looking at the same crap that we were dealing with in 2019 and before that was maybe exacerbated in 2020, or maybe it was set aside because we stopped focusing on it because we were focusing on the pandemic.
Right. And now it's come back around. And it's still the same, and the resistance to that change. It's like, it's so schizophrenic. It's like we're ready to, like, I'll use this example. Get back to, get to a new normal.
Right.
But really, you just wanted to go back to the way, or I just wanted to go back to the way it was before.
Right.
And, so we say new normal because we know it can't go back. And yet at the same time, the possibilities, the opportunities, the solutions, the actions are coming from the same playbook.
Right.
So it's not really new.
No, it's new. It's old with a new jacket or a new spring hat.
Right. It's been upcycled.
It's been upcycled. It went through a makeover.
We're upcycling life. And I don't know necessarily, and I'm so, like we were talking earlier, I'm so in my contradiction right now because I see it and I know it and I understand it and I desire it, and yet I'm in resistance to what needs to happen in order for that new change to occur.
Right.
Like I gotta let go of some things. I gotta shift some things. And the biggest thing is my mindset. And I am really struggling. And I'm struggling consciously. Right. We both talked about this. Are we spiritually bypassing our lives right now? And we clearly gotta know.
Right.
So, we're doing the work. It's just...
It ain't easy.
Thank you. I don't even know. I couldn't even speak to it. I was just like,
it's just that.
I got nothing. And so, I just share this because I'm wearing my spiritual gangsta shirt today.
And that was the jumping off point for our conversation.
It was,
So, and that's the thing. So how do you be a spiritual gangsta if that's your mode operandi, if you like that term, or a spiritual being,
Right.
or an awakened being, or any of that, as you are still
In a world that's whack.
white. She did say that earlier too. She's so much more hip than I. I'm so not hip.
That's probably like a 40-year-old word. I don't even know. All right. I
But
just
even
know
then, I wasn't hip.
it's dope or it's whack. That's all I know. So
I am sure anyone that's
Okay.
listening could probably tell us how old we are.
Right.
Not that we don't know, but
Hey.
based off of what we're saying, yes. But yeah, it's so how do we do that? I mean, I was watching, I've made the conclusion, I've intentionally stepped back my time on social media.
Yes.
And I'm making some changes with that, and I'm really happy about that. It's just something new, right? I have my phone just turn off.
Oh.
It says, "Oh, you reached your time." Set a time limit
Wow.
based off of what I used to, right? Because I would get an update every week, and I'd be like, "Oh Lord, that's ugly." No, I
That
can't
must be an
even say
Apple
it.
thing.
It may be.
I'm blissfully ignorant.
I was shocked. So anyway, I just halved it. That's how much I had every single day
Wow.
on social media. So I halved it, and I have it set up so it just shuts off. And I'm like, no, that means you're done.
Yeah.
That means you're done.
Wow, you're like intermittent fasting with the Facebook.
I am hardcore fasting.
That's a new thing. That
And
could be a
it's-
thing right there.
There you go. And it shuts off and it turns back on at midnight. And then I'm also, anyway, so I'm taking steps away from that. And I'm trying to fill myself and my time with things that I intentionally want to learn from.
Oh.
And so I've been watching videos and so on of things that I find interesting regarding yoga, regarding enlightenment, regarding awakening, regarding energy, and all of that type of thing. And so someone made a comment somewhere in one of the various things that I've been watching, and they said this paradigm is dying.
Yeah.
And you know, and it wasn't, oh, maybe, possibly, oh no, this shit is dying. It's dying. And while there may be a lot of us that agree with it needs,
Right.
so there's some shit that needs to die.
Should
Because
yes, long time ago.
because it needs to be done.
Yes.
It needs to be done being in our reality. But yet the majority of us have been in this paradigm our entire lives on this life, during this lifetime.
Yep.
And so that means there's some hardcore shit that we did not even know
Yeah.
that we didn't know
Yeah.
that we now have to address, and it is also going to die within us.
Yeah.
Or if you don't like die, maybe we can use the word transform if dying is
Transcend.
right. All of these words
Upcycle.
are
No, not upcycle.
not upcycle.
Donate it to Goodwill and go buy something new for yourself.
There you go. There you go. So yeah, so the paradigm is dying.
I will buy you a new life.
What?
So now I'm hearing, is it Offspring?
Oh,
That
I don't
band?
know.
I will buy you a new life.
Oh, it is a band,
Yes.
but I don't know that. I don't know that
Oh yeah.
statement.
I will buy you a garden where your flowers can bloom.
Oh,
Yeah. Anyway.
someone, I need a garden.
Yeah.
Someone come buy me that shit. But yeah, so we are in the throes of that. And I think it would be fair based off of what I see, people I know, who I talk about, or who I talk to, that there are things, everyone's experiencing that. There are things that just don't work anymore.
Everclear, not Offspring. So
Oh, okay.
I had to correct that.
Gotcha. That just don't work anymore. And we can't hang it on the pandemic anymore.
No.
I mean, because that's still going on, but we are
Yes.
not in the same place that we were last year.
No.
Right? So COVID is still going on. It's still a thing that we have to address and deal with. But we can't hang it on that. Because we're not, at least here in the U.S., we're not in lockdown anymore.
Right. And that was the thing I was going to say. We're not the EU, which is just, I was watching something.
They're
on that.
having
It's
a tough
they
time.
and yeah, it's really, really bad. And hey, I'm all for, if we Americans don't want to get our vaccines, let's send those vaccines to them, because they need them.
Right.
This needs not be a money game. Again, that is the dying paradigm that is still trying to do it the same way.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a time for this to be about, the money or whatever. And I digress, but that's like a really good example of this right now, because while we're opening up and getting back, they are experiencing their third wave right now.
Right.
And regardless of what you think about it, your opinions, your conspiracies, it doesn't matter. There's an entire continent right now that's still
right.
got some major things. And so it's different for them there than it is for us here. It's different for you in your life than it is for me in mine.
Right.
Can you dig me? As above, so below, right? There is this, and as without, so within.
Mm-hmm.
This struggle to release this dying paradigm is also within ourselves, within our minds, within our beliefs, within our abilities to comprehend or learn something new or grow or surrender.
Well, and we are being, like I mentioned before, and I see it, and Sonya has seen it, we are being introduced to those things that we didn't know we didn't know. Right? How do you heal something? How do you address something? How do you change something when you don't know that you even know, that you don't know that you don't know it?
Right.
I mean, that's double blind.
Right, it is. And then there's also the, it, and you know that, rewind. You know what you know, and you know what you don't know.
Right.
And now, even that is coming up as you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
Because what you thought you knew no longer applies.
Right.
Now, if you're confused, good. Welcome to the party.
Well, welcome to the fun.
This is where it would be right now. We're all here together, holding hands, not singing Kumbaya.
No.
Because, it's just, and again, for me, I'm all about solutions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have a problem. Let's find a solution. Let's not focus on the problem. Let's find a solution, right? And sometimes it's about timing. And then that's where I get into trouble.
Because I want my solution now.
Go, baby, go. We got it. Let's put it into practice. Let's do this, right?
Right.
And so sitting with what is and releasing, and I feel like that's where I'm at right now. Mm-hmm. It's like, going back to the beginning of my story, I'm ready to go out and work in the fields, but it won't quit raining. There's still snow on the ground. Now, my inner clock, my inner understanding is going, but it's time.
We're supposed to.
This is when we do this.
Right.
And what's outside of me is going, yeah, we're not ready.
Yeah.
And so that can be really frustrating.
So, the whole conversation about being in this space, and if you consider yourself someone who has...
Oh, God, that's so good.
Oh, I know.
That chai is on point today. I'm sorry. Please go on. I'm so sorry. I just had a mouthful and it was just like bliss.
Yes. Sonya made her special tea, and she made it special tea with a special tea.
That was a gift to me. Thank you.
Yes, and it was very, very tasty. I must concur.
Yeah. Almost makes everything right in the world.
Bring on the tea. Right? I'm with the British on that.
Yeah.
Right?
I am
There's
British.
a problem, sit your ass down and drink some tea.
Sweet tea.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right?
Well, and cream, or a version of cream.
Right. But they don't put sugar, but when you need to calm down, I threw two cubes in there for you.
Well, that would be call the midwife.
Right.
They did all that.
Time.
Here, sweetie, here's your tea. I made it sweet.
Yes.
It's sweet.
Drink the sweet tea.
That's right.
It'll help you.
Help you with your shock.
I wonder why we became addicted to sugar.
Because it's so good.
Anyhow.
But yes, so sugar awake. So if you consider yourself awake, right? Someone who has woken to the fact that our life is more than just day by day
Human
things
experience.
that we can prove, factual experience, right? And it has grown for you, however that looks for you. Then how do you deal with this? Do you deal with everything that's going on differently? Like Sonia mentioned, are we bypassing ourselves or bypassing the situation?
The work.
The work. Do you take the time to look at what are the unconscious or subconscious motivations? Do you take the time to sit down and be the observer in meditation, or not in meditation, but suspending judgment and finding, because this is hard work, and it doesn't mean that it's easier because you're awakened. It's actually harder.
Yeah.
Because you are in this place.
You don't ever get a break. You don't ever get any grace. No slack is cut. It's like being the oldest child, which we talked about that this morning, too.
Yes, we
and
did.
being punished because your siblings did something because you were supposed to be watching them.
Because you didn't make
Again,
them stop doing it.
Children of the 70s. Unite! Against responsibility.
Gen X, baby.
But yeah, it is hard, and it is just, waking up. It's just the first step, right? And think about this, right? We can use this in a day. When you wake up in the morning, your day doesn't really start until you get out of bed.
Mm-hmm. Unless you grab your phone and you start scrolling through your phone while you're laying down.
Yeah.
Then your day starts, and it may not always be fun.
Yeah.
So you may want to consider changing that.
Yeah.
Or not.
And it is challenging because I have that challenge too. It's like I want to hear the weather. I want to know what it's going to be like for the day, how to dress, that sort of thing. But in order to do that, I've got to turn on the news. And then that's not the first thing I want to hear in the morning.
Right.
So I do have an app on my phone. I just forget to check it. And also, taking that little bit of time to come into your body wholly and completely, to give gratitude that you woke up again.
I mean, seriously, just I am thankful and grateful to be here this morning.
Yeah.
And that, I don't have a huge freaking ritual. Literally, that is all that I say.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing what a shift it can make for me.
Yeah, it is. Because you can wake up and then like Groundhog Day, you hear the click and then, Sonny and Cher singing, I Got You, Babe. But instead,
classic
you didn't
movie.
do this last night. You didn't do that.
Right.
Don't forget you got to do this today. And then you should have taken care of this. And why are you always like, and then, wow, that was restful. That was a lovely way to wake up. And I woke up many, many years for that. And at times I wake up that way still.
Right.
Fortunately, I have created a discipline and a practice. And this is where we get back to where just because you're awake doesn't mean it's easy.
Mm-mm.
Because I have created the discipline, the practice, the tools to help me to turn off that, radio and have something, wake up with a different,
Right.
Alarm clock, so to speak.
Absolutely.
And I have to do it. That's where it's like I'm consciously aware of where I'm at and what I can do to change it. I just have to make the choice to do it.
Right.
And sometimes
that's
that can
the
be hard.
discipline.
That is the discipline.
That's the discipline. That's the chop wood, carry water before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water after enlightenment. Just because you know it and figured it out, if you didn't choose to integrate it into your life, then it doesn't really matter.
Nope. It's useless knowledge.
Right.
And someday, sometimes, some energies can make that more challenging. And so, I have to say to myself, you've come way off the rails here. We can't even back the train up and have it jump back on track.
We have lost the track at this point.
So how do I get myself back there? It just depends. Sometimes I fight it, like a pig under a blanket.
Never tried that, but I imagine
Trying
it's
to fight
interesting.
my way out of the blanket. You ever like throw a blanket over your dog or something and it's just kind of
Oh.
like losing its mind because it can't? They're cooler. They're smarter than that.
Cats just like lay down.
Yeah, they just like,
whatever.
I don't care.
Okay.
But, and then sometimes you just like, oh, okay, yeah, right, thank you. And then there's other times where it's just like, oh, you thought you had me. No, no. Good try, though.
And this is the unromantic shit. This is the unidealized crap about being awakened. Mm-hmm. This is the, everyone loves the mystical experience, sure. Outer world experience of connection with life, with God, with guides, with never-ending beauty. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Everyone loves that shit. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. At least everyone I know does. Right. Who has experienced it.
That lovely, yummy, altered state of consciousness.
Right. Mm-hmm. Let's go slide into there and hang out there. But the thing is, you can't hang out there because you got a human body and you're supposed to be here or you wouldn't have the human body.
Right.
So, not working, to shit on
eating, shitting.
But you are here, so you are supposed to be here. Yes. But yeah, so this is the unromantic, unfun, exciting things.
Right. It's the shit sandwich we have to eat to live.
Okay. Well, there you go.
And sometimes you can be the only one that's doing it in your world.
Right. That can be annoying.
As hell. How come I'm the one doing all the heavy lifting over here? And then, I get reminded, like I did this morning, I can't be responsible for anybody else's life. That's their life journey. Right. Quit looking in their backyard.
Right.
Right? Like I got my drone and I'm hovering it and I'm checking out all my neighbors.
Don't be worried about what they're supposed to do or what they should do.
Do what you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And it's hard when you get all enmeshed, especially with people that you're close to, in their lives, and your life becomes their life and their life becomes your life, and they may not even want you in their life, and yet here we are. And how do you deal with together. That mental mind duck
like quack
like autocorrect?
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, see there. And
well done.
How am I going to handle this? Because this is where I'm at right now.
Right.
I'm just sharing. I'm asking. Anybody got any ideas out there? Please email us at Inmyexperience1111@gmail.com.
Let's talk about this shit.
Let's talk about
That's right. We're sitting here and we're not claiming to have the answers to everything. And we are going through it just like everyone else. And then on top of that, with the craziness and the painful things that are occurring around this planet, if you are an empath, and I want to make a distinction. So someone who is empathic has the ability to connect and feel what another is feeling. And that is a beautiful thing in relationships. Someone who is an empath just feels shit.
We're like Bounty. We're the quicker picker uppers.
And it can come from everywhere because emotions are just energy and they're just riding the energy waves.
It's like smelling a fart. You walk into a room, there's nobody there, but you smell a fart.
Who the hell did this?
Somebody left their farty energy out.
Yes. And so, yeah. So
and
it's
that can make me judgy McJudger.
Right. And angry.
And angry.
So that's an awareness too. What do you do with that? Yeah. When you are, and we've talked about empath and we've talked about energy, and when the kicker of it all is when you are trying to figure out internally information, your steps, the work you need to do personally for yourself that may not be mirrored anywhere else in the world, but you're doing it, and on top of that, you're an empath. It's like, holy fuck.
Yes.
And then I won't even say duck, I'll just say the word. And so that is a real life experience. Mm-hmm. And you can try to ignore yourself out of it.
You can shut it off.
You can try, but it's not so easy anymore.
Mm-mm. because all the, excuse me, governors and restrictors have been removed. Some people call it the veil. Whatever. Everybody's in everybody's business now. Don't you know that? Can't you feel that? Everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's in everybody's business. And at the same time, everybody's telling each other to mind your own.
You know, I have to say, I saw a real clip, and I don't even know who the guy who said this, but it made sense. And he's like, I recorded this 13 years ago, and he played it. And it was just, you know, like a minute of information. And he said, where we are in our connectedness and where we are in social media, everyone is a brand. You are a brand. You are whatever your name is, .com, whether you have one of those or not.
Yeah.
And when you participate, you can't hide who you are. Not the way that you used to. People used to be able to hide themselves all over the place because information did not move around the way that it does now.
No more masks.
And so you cannot, and it may take time to get to you, right? But, and while some people may find that statement terrifying, I was rather thrilled with that comment that people in time, in space, people will know who you are. And that's part of what this is too, right? We're walking around with our personal lives, dealing with whatever we're dealing with, and no one's going to see it, and we're just going to, and it's not that way anymore.
I believe when Martin Luther King Jr. said that you will be known by the content of your character, that was what he was speaking about.
Right, and that's what I'm talking about too, that this is a character thing, that this is not, I mean, as we do as humans, we go from, you know, the pendulum going from one extreme to another extreme. And are we in the middle of the extreme? Absolutely. Everyone getting into their business and telling them what they should and shouldn't be doing.
This is like the X Games.
But I do believe that, because that's how it works, that it will even out. And that there will be less places to hide. And it not that you have to be exposed or out in the open, but you just, to be an integral person, to be a person of authenticity, to, you know, own your shit, good and bad. Those are issues of character. And I think it's a good thing that we be known by those things. We, as the general we.
I agree.
But there's a whole bunch of crap to get there. So, you know, all the unwinding, all the digging up, all the realizations, whether once again it's happening personally, professionally, on the world stage, it's happening all over the place.
Yeah. And it does get irritating and frustrating and, you know, tiresome. And I just have to keep reminding myself that, you know, one, not to take it personally.
Right.
That this might not be for me.
Right.
But it is for the collective.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't have to justify or defend.
Right.
Which is a human construct anyway. And yet I get caught in it.
Because, well, that's based on good and evil.
Yes.
Justifying and defending.
Yes.
Yes.
It's all good and it's all evil. And I had to stop when you were talking about the pendulum. Like, remember we used to go to like the fairs or whatever, and they would have those like great big giant pendulum swing rides. It was usually like a pirate ship or something.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I never wanted to sit in the very back, because when that thing swung up, you were like almost 90 degrees.
Right.
And like I was in the middle holding the mask. But because I'm not a big fan of heights. But what I saw when you were talking about that is like we think about evolution, okay, let's just say of the New Age spirituality, right? And when it first sort of started, and I'm just using this as an example, you could put anything into this, okay? There were a few, and they were pushing this pendulum, and it was really hard for them to get that pendulum to swing.
Right.
Because there was only a few of them.
Right. Moving
This great big giant ship of a pendulum. Now we got people hanging off the sides, the ropes, up in the crow's nest, and this baby is swinging so fast it is flinging people off of it.
Because of the weight. Yeah.
Because of the weight and because of the momentum. And that's where we're at right now. And people are being flung off. of the pendulum.
Right.
And while it's appearance sake, it's bad. There, but for the grace of God go I.
Right.
Because as you
I
said,
have
we're
said
all
that.
brands.
Mm-hmm.
And it will come around. And the best that you can do is just be the best that you can be and own what needs to be owned.
Right.
We have to also, we don't have to do anything. I would like, in a perfect world, to see us also being able to find within that pendulum swing the balance of forgiveness.
Right.
For ourselves and for others.
Right.
Because if we don't, we are only going to circle the problems. Because there will be endless problems.
Right.
Think about your life. Think about the world, the history of it. It's the solutions to those problems that bring the Renaissance. And this is where we're at. And I just want for myself to be, and this is the work that I'm doing, and this is why I question my spiritual bypassing, because, again, my commitment to my ascension, to my growth, is to not leave any stone unturned.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I do that ad nauseum. Sometimes I do that to my own demise.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know any other way. Piperlyne doesn't know any other way.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't have to be everybody's way, but it is
Right.
our way, and it is our way because that's how we come to see and know and understand the greater purpose, the divine reasoning
Right.
of our existence here.
Right.
It's not just to satisfy and pass all your marks and your grades and graduate Earth. It's to transcend it. It's to bring the heaven to the earth. It's to embody all that we are,
Right.
from top to bottom, and find a way to integrate it.
And that's the thing, going back to talking about the beauty of the mystical or otherworldly experiences that Sonya and I have had, along with whoever else has experienced that, the drive or commitment to, I want more of that shit.
Sure.
And if I can live that in this world, then there's no sacred cow for me.
I'm the sacred cow.
Oh. I love you. There we go. There is nothing that is, to me, there is nothing that is more important than that.
Right.
And so if I need to squeeze myself through a ringer or tear the ringer apart and rebuild it so I can fit through it,
Right.
or throw the ringer out the window, girl, I'm going to try all of them.
Right. So my lips shut and
All
not
of
eat
them.
for a month so I can be skinny enough to fit through the ring.
Whatever it is that we
Whatever.
need to do,
Right.
that is what we will do.
Right.
That is what I will do, because that is what I wish to experience
Correct.
in this world, is the embodiment of that amazing, loving, wide open experience of life. And I don't have that right now.
Nope.
I do not have that right now. And more than anything else, that is chafing my ass.
Just leave me with my enlightenment, please. Can you just leave it on the door? I'll pick it up later. Kind of busy now.
Amazon, ding dong.
Oy. I guess I know I ordered it myself, but I don't want the delivery yet.
But no, I'm not ready. But then a part of me is, you are ready.
Yeah. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here listening to the doorbell ring.
Right.
So there's that. Do you see how much fun this is? And when you can take the human experience out of it, and I'm going to digress back to that in a second, because this is an important distinction. To take the human experience out of it and see and understand it from that larger perspective, and allowing what is to be what is only part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you cannot completely take the human experience out of it while you're in human form.
This is truth.
So this is, again, it's an inconjunct. It is 2 points that cannot be resolved.
that are not compatible that are not compatible in any way. And the only way, this is astrology.
Thank you.
The only way that they can become compatible is when you rise above it to see it from a different point of view. But you still have to be human here and work through that crap.
Yeah.
So you can't, I agree. Sonia and I are like, damn.
It's a paradox and a quagmire topped with an enigma and sprinkled with some bullshit. Here's your shit sandwich.
Yum, 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 yum. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Life is a joy. I got this card from this gal one time and it said, life is a joy. And as I choose to accept it, it becomes true for me. So there you go. And, just know that it's okay to be in the struggle.
Right.
Even when you fight it with all that you have because it doesn't feel okay.
Right.
No. Every moment of everything that we do is okay. It's all just an experience. It's all just an experiment. It's all just acting in a play. And just like some actors will lose themselves in a character.
Right.
I do that too.
Mm-hmm.
I get so caught up, in the Sonya Stockhouse brand.
That's right. SonyaStockhouse.com.
And some days, I don't want to sign books for my fans. I want to be left alone, darling.
Yes.
Who was that? Nora Desmond?
I want to be left alone. No, wasn't that
it was
that actress?
Greta Garbo?
Could have
been Greta Garbo.
Could have been.
Yes.
I want to be alone.
Yeah.
But
no, Nora Desmond was ready for her fans. That's
what
she was.
Gotcha.
So there, Nora Desmond, Greta Garbo. That's me in a nutshell.
All right, to let them in. Open the gates. You can come through now.
No, it's too many. Close the gates. I don't like them. Maybe I'm going back to court days.
What?
Court days. The days of royal court.
Oh, gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
Where I'm sitting on my throne.
Mm-hmm.
The fools and the jesters are boring.
Let them eat cake, yes.
Don't want to hear anything more about a war from my generals. I've conquered. I've pillaged. What else is there to do? Right? And you see people like that. They're bored with life. And I always used to say, if I won the lottery, I wouldn't be bored. Oh, I don't know, I'd quit my job because I'd be bored. Oh, no. There are libraries all over this world where I could find books that I didn't even know exist. Like, I don't think that I could be bored. But I take a week's vacation, and by the end of the week, it's like, oh my God, when am I going to go back to work? I can't stand it.
Okay, so I could probably take a little bit more than a week's vacation.
Yeah, okay, me too.
Because I'm
10 days, though, I'm like
tired all the time. But yeah, I mean, if at the end of that, I had a sum of money that I could do whatever I wanted with, learning, experiencing, building, creating, those 10 days would be really long.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They would be really long because I'd be chomping at the bit about, let's start creating, let's start doing, let's start learning and experiencing and sharing and building and...
Which brings us right back to spring equinox.
Yes, it does. Absolutely.
Because that is the way it goes. And I think about that too. Like, I've really looked at a lot of things that I have wanted to sort of window shop for my life. And I have actually, played with it and looked at it and questioned okay, so what would it be like if I did this every day?
Mm-hmm.
How would I deal with that? How would I live like that? What would be boring to me? What would be challenging to me? Like, we often want a different life than the life we live.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm one of those people where it's like, and you've heard me say this many times, I've got to turn the diamond and look at it from every facet. So I can say, yes, that sounds really great. And I know from my own experiences that the thought, the wish, the dream is almost always better than the reality.
Mm-hmm.
Because just like the book is always better than the movie, it's the details.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fleshing out of the story.
Right.
I can say that I want to get in an RV and travel around the country. There's a lot of work involved in that.
Right.
You have to get up, you have to plan your day, you have to account for the detours and the pitfalls and the challenges that are going to arise in that 4 to 8 hour driving day.
Mm-hmm.
And then getting to the location, and then, and then now, we can't even take vacations to destinations anymore unless you plan ahead and call ahead and see what's open and see
Right.
what's available.
Right.
And so this is such, these life experiences are spiritual metaphors.
And to our detriment or our excitement, Sonya and I have a tendency to see that everywhere.
Fortunately or unfortunately.
Right.
We can't get away from it.
Right. And I am a firm believer that anything that you need to work on is already in front of you.
Going, hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
remember me?
Uh-huh.
I'm right here.
Yeah, here. Oh, whoa, you didn't hear that? Okay, so let's...
And
oh,
some
you
days-
tripped. Oh.
Oh, yeah. And some days I'm like, no, that's not, I can't find, where are my glasses?
Oh, God.
Oh, they were right there on my head. Okay, well, let me just deal with that then.
Yes.
And that's all that I can do, right? Because to try to do anything else, and I say try purposely, to try to do anything else is me banging my head against a wall.
Right.
And I have so many, did I say many? Examples
Once or twice.
of that.
Well, I mean, going back to, there's some things in my life that I would like to see change, that I actively want to move towards change. And I see them coming to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
But the timing
Mm-hmm.
and the how
Mm-hmm.
and the
The
where
human
and
shit.
when and all of that, I don't have. And, so in my meditations, I talk to my guides, I regularly, and I'm like, tell me what I need to do.
Yeah.
What do I need to do to move this along? Let's get this going.
And then they show me a picture of myself when I was 3 going, can I have a cookie? Can I have a cookie? Can I have another cookie? I told you no already. But can I have a cookie now? We told you have to wait till after dinner. Okay, can I have another cookie?
And my people say, sit down and shut up. So there's that.
Oh, see, I don't even hear my people. I'm just going, okay, can I have a cookie?
Cookie? Oh, I
Any
said,
of you parents of toddlers might understand that.
yes, might have knowledge of that experience. No, I just sit there silently and stare at them. Be like, all right, I'm waiting. And anyone that knows me, I can hold that space for a long time.
Yeah.
I can sit there and wait for your response for a long time. And so, they tell me sit down and shut up. And
In the most loving way.
of course, absolutely, because the answer is it's being taken care of.
It is.
And on top of that, I also got, you have shit to do.
Yes.
You know what shit you have to do. You just don't want to do it.
Right.
So you need to do the shit you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they're right. I have a list of shit.
When are they ever wrong?
Well, never.
Right?
Never. But they're right. I have a list of shit I need to do, 100%. And I don't want to take that list with me.
Yeah.
I don't want to. And I'm not supposed to, in the sense of when it's time to make a change and have something different and be somewhere and do something different, then it needs to be different.
Right.
Not with your baggage shit.
Right. That's like a feng shui technique too, right? In order to bring something new in, you got to clear the space
Right.
to make room for it.
Right.
And lightening your load is the call to action these days.
It is. And it is a beautiful I mean, it really is, it can be extremely challenging. And I've done a lot of emotional work through some of that stuff. But it really is, oh my gosh, I breathe better when I clear my space. And, it can be physical stuff, it can be emotional, mental stuff.
Right.
It doesn't matter. I feel lighter.
You clean your room, you clean your desk off, whatever. And you just like all of a sudden it's like ooh, I'm clear, I'm focused, I'm motivated.
Right.
And
so that's where I am.
Yeah.
I'm going, there's stuff you're right. There's
Spring
stuff
cleaning.
I need to do. Yes,
Hello.
absolutely.
That is another.
Absolutely.
Maybe that's what replaced planting the seeds in the fields. We decided to spring clean. I don't know. Maybe.
I think we need to do both.
Well, I'm reading this book called Sapiens, and so it's really making me think about human experiences a lot too. It's actually very interesting.
Like the anthropology and sociology of it. Yeah. I love that shit.
It's a lot. I mean, it's going to take me a little while to read it because it's not like something where I can just read it. I have to read something and then I have to go, wow, and I got to sit with that for a minute.
I need to set that down and think about that stuff.
I knew that, but I didn't know that. And when you look at the history, and this is like one of my biggest things, being a people watcher from way back when and a history buff, you can learn. There is so much, like we want to do away with so much of our past. You just don't understand how much there is to be gained from that. Even if it's distasteful, it really can. And it can give you so many insights into how we were versus how we are and how and why we came through those and what prompted those changes and evolutions. And like I was talking with somebody, and this was a year ago, I come across this book, and I don't remember the name of it right now, but basically what they talked about is this gal had written this book on like crisis and pandemics and things like that globally. And of course the timing of it was spot on.
Right.
And she said what she had found was that historically speaking, we actually have a track record of coming together, of supporting and caring for each other.
Right.
You would think, especially based on today's society, that we would tend to be more of the I'm just taking care of me and mine attitude. And while that may have been true, in those moments of crisis, of collective struggle, we actually came together. We came out in support. We shared. We took care of.
Right.
And so what that said to me was that no matter how big of an asshole we are as human beings, and we are assholes, not just have them, we are them. We have the capacity to connect, to support, to care for one another. And we have demonstrated that over and over and over again. And that too is hardwired and inherent and I don't know, maybe even genetic. So go easy on yourself. Go easy on others. I'm talking to myself right now. And for you, my listeners, our listeners, our dear, sweet people that care about what we have to say, I hope that if you are having anything that is like what we've talked about today, that you take some solace in this, some solidarity.
Right.
And if you'd like to, share, because it makes us feel better too to know that we're not the only ones,
right,
that are having these experiences, these feelings, these thoughts, and there's a purpose in it. Even in the moments when I feel like this is bullshit and there's no point, I know really that's not true, because I wouldn't be here if there wasn't a purpose. I made that very clear in my contract.
I think that if you found this past week for a number of different reasons has been extremely difficult energetically along with world events, and if you found yourself in a puddle on the floor in your bedroom,
In the fetal position.
know that you weren't the only one.
If you couldn't sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, if you were up for all night, for nights in a row, that once again, you are not the only one, and you are not...
Perfectly normal.
You may not see anyone else doing it. You may not know that anyone else is doing it, other than we're telling you, yes, there are other people that are doing it. And going back to what Sonya said, and just to confirm that for myself, giving myself some grace.
Yeah.
Just, I'm doing the best fucking thing I can do. I'm doing the best I can do. And so is everyone else.
And I just heard, and that is enough.
And it has to be.
Yes.
It has to be.
But I'm getting confirmation.
Okay.
and that
is confirmed.
Just enough.
Right.
So, have a wonderful week.
Yes. You are doing it. Whatever it is, you are doing it.
You are doing it. You can do it. You will do it. And whatever it is, it will be done. So,
there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Take care of you. Take care of those around you. Share, like, support.
Subscribe.
That was the word I was looking
Follow.
for.
You may email us your thoughts.
Yeah. Or jump on the community on Facebook, the Inmyexperience community, and share there and start, The one thing that I know is that I tend to be an island, and when I get off the island and get in my little boat and go visit people on their islands, I find so much pleasure in that.
Yeah.
And in this. So, until next week, I'm Sonya Lee.
And I'm Piperlyne, choking on my tea. Thank you for joining us at Inmyexperience.